coming towards question number 91. Question number 91 says, consider the following statements about the process of amendment in the Constitution of India. Amendment. So we can talk about three types of amendments were there. The first amendment required 50% majority or simple majority in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The second type of amendment required clear majority in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and the third type of amendment required clear majority plus ratification by 50% of the state legislative assemblies. So let us see what the question says. An amendment to the Constitution of India can be initiated by introduction of a bill in the Lok Sabha only. No, the statement is wrong. The amendment bill can be introduced in any of the house. It can be Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. Here it is written in the Lok Sabha only. So this statement is false. Second statement says, if such an amendment seeks to make changes in the federal character of the Constitution, the amendment needs to be ratified by the legislature of all the states. Even this one is wrong. 50% of the states should ratify it. So second statement is also wrong. So both A and B are wrong. Which of the above statements given are correct? They are asking about correct. None of them is correct. So the option number 4, neither 1 nor 2 are correct. So question number 91, the correct option should be option number 4. If we come towards question number 92, the Constitution of India provides for division of power between the Union and the states enumerated in 3 lists. Based on the division of subjects in the list, identify the ones which are correctly matched. Chapter number 2, class 10th federalism chapter was the chapter from where this question has been taken. So the first one is citizenship and extradition. It is a part of union list, very much true. Public health and sanitation is the part of state list, even this one is true. Forest and trade is the part of concurrent list, even this one is true. Computer software and digital privacy is the part of state list. No, it is not the part of state list, it was the part of residuary power. So fourth one is wrong statement. 1, 2 and 3. Let us see where it is given. 1 and 2, 1, 2 and 3. So here comes the answer. For question number 92, the correct answer is option number 2. If we come towards question number 93, in a social science class, the teacher asked the students to give their opinion about ensuring food security in India. Food security is the chapter, that is chapter number 4, economics, class 9th. Opinions given by Pahi, Saju, Jara and Ved are given below. Whose opinion is not suitable? Not suitable for achieving food security. Okay. Saju says provide subsidy for export of food grains. Why export of food grains? We have to ensure food security to Indian people. This one is incorrect. Pahi says increase food grain production in our country. Obviously that will lead to food security. Ved says penalize the person who wastes food grains in our country. That is an innovative idea. That should be followed. I think this should be followed sincerely. Ved is also correct. That will lead to the food security. And Jara says provide free food grains to all people below poverty line in our country. We are near about doing that. Antyodaya Ann Yojana, we are doing that. So fourth option is also correct. So they asked which opinion is not suitable. Obviously the opinion given by Saju is not suitable. So 93, option number 1 is the correct answer. Coming towards question number 94. Inexpensive Chinese locks are flooding the Indian markets, thus destroying the traditional lock industry of India. Which of the following methods can the government of India take up to protect the Indian lock industry? Okay, this question is coming from chapter number 4, economics, class 10th, that is globalization and its impact on Indian economy. There they talked about the Chinese toys. Here the question talked about Chinese locks. Okay. Revalue Indian currency. I don't think that will have much effect. This is not applicable. Give subsidy on the import of Chinese lock. Subsidy on the import of Chinese lock. That will lead to the deterioration of Indian lock or Indian market. Impose import tax on the import of Chinese lock. That is a correct statement. If we are going to impose the import taxes on the Chinese lock, it will increase the prices of Chinese lock and it will not be sold in Indian market. Place limit on the number of goods that can be imported. That is also correct. Trade barriers, right? So third and fourth statement. Where is the third and fourth statement? It is in fourth option. So question number 94, the correct answer is fourth option. If we come towards question number 95, of the 200 households in the village of Chandanwadi, 100 households are debtors. They have borrowed money from the following sources. Okay, chapter number 3, class 10th, economics, money and credit they are talking about. Sources of credit and number of households. Landlords are the part of informal sources. 22 is the number. Bank of India, formal sources. 5 is the number. Farmers Cooperative Bank, even this one is formal. 15 is the number. Money lenders, informal. 18 is the number. Bank of Allahabad is the formal. 10 is the number. Friends and relatives, informal. And 15 is the number. Maharashtra State Cooperative Bank is 15. Maharashtra State Cooperative Bank is 15. That is also formal. Based on the table given above, which of the following statements are correct? And the statements are: formal sources of credit are lower than informal sources. First, we will have to make the calculations. First of all, let us work out the informal sources. 22 plus 18, that becomes 40, and 15, that becomes 55. So informal sources are 55. And what about formal? Bank of India 5, Farmers Cooperative Bank 15, so becomes 20. Bank of Allahabad 10, 20 plus 10, 30. And Maharashtra State Cooperative Bank 15, so 45. Formal sources are 45 and informal sources are 55. So informal sources are more. So the statement formal sources of credit are lower than informal sources, correct. Formal sources were only 45, informal were 55. Informal sources of credit are lower than formal sources. This statement is wrong. 1/5 of debtors borrowed from friends and relatives. A total of 100 borrowers are there. 100 households are debtors. So 100 households are the borrowers, and from the friends and relatives 15 only. So 15 is 1/6, not even 1/6, less than that. And this one is saying 1/5 of the debtors borrowed from friends and relatives. Statement is wrong. Money lenders and landlords continue to be a major source of credit in the village. Money lenders and friends. Money lenders are 18, friends and relatives 15, so becomes 23. 33 on the other hand, sorry. 33, obviously they are a big part. Money lenders and landlords continue to be a major source of credit in the village. That is also correct. So 1 and 4th option is correct, and 1 and 4th option lies over here. So question number 95, the correct answer is option number 2. If we move towards the next question, again a big statement. Dhanu gets up in the morning and milks her cow. She sells milk to 3 houses. She then cooks food for her family and prepares her children for school. At 10 a.m. she goes to the market with vegetables from her garden and sells it. By 1:30 a.m. she goes to Simranjeet's house and cooks food for Simranjeet's family. At 2 p.m. she goes to Harpreet's house and washes clothes. By 5 p.m. she goes home and washes her family's clothes. Identify the economic activities performed by Dhanu. Getting her children ready for school. This is not an economic activity. Cooking food for her family. Even this is not an economic activity. Cooking for Simranjeet's family. This one is an economic activity because she will get the returns for that, money for that. Washing her family's clothes. No. Washing Harpreet's clothes is correct. Selling vegetables is correct. And selling milk is also correct. So we have to identify the economic activities performed by Dhanu. 3rd, 5th, 6th and 7th. 3rd, 5th, 6th and 7th. The 4th statement is correct. So if we talk about question number 96, option number 4, that is 3rd, 5th, 6th and 7th statement is correct. Coming towards 97, Himmat Veer has inherited land and rupees 2,50,000 from his father. Okay, land and rupees 2,50,000 from his father. He decided to build a factory on the land. he spent rupees 2 lakh for the building. To purchase the machines, he took a loan of rupees 75,000 from the bank and purchased machines. After 6 months, he could start production. He used the rest of the money that he has inherited to purchase the raw materials required. His fixed capital and the working respectively are. So we have to work out the fixed capital and the working capital. So if we talk about the fixed capital, he spent rupees 2 lakh for the building. This is a fixed capital. To purchase the machines, he took a loan of rupees 75. That is also a fixed capital. After 6 months, he could start production. He used, in between says, after 6 months, he could start production. He used the rest of the money that he has inherited to purchase the raw material required. So only two things are fixed capital, 2,75,000 and he got 2,50,000. 75,000 he has taken a loan. So rest amount is 50,000. 2,75,000 is the fixed one and 50,000 is the working capital. Which one says? Option number 2 says rupees 2,75,000 is the fixed capital and rupees 50,000 is the working capital. So question number 97, option number 2 is the correct answer. Coming towards question number 98. So the question says, based on the given table, arrange the following households in the order of the most poor to the least poor. Poorest to least poor we have to move. The first household, the owner of the house is Jeevan. Location of residence is Mumbai. Daily wage is 100. Number of working days per person is 15. So 100 into 15. The size of the household is 7 and number of working days is, number of working members is 2. So multiplied by 2 and divided by 7. So that will give you near about 428.57. 428.57. If we come towards Yaswant, if we apply the same formula, the total amount will come 2000. If we come towards Seelam, the total amount comes 1875. And if we go by Sumer, if we apply the same formula, it comes 500. So who is the most poor? Jeevan is the most poor because he is earning only 428.57. Jeevan, third option is there. After Jeevan comes Sumer. After Sumer comes Seelam and then finally Yaswant. So most poor to the least poor, option number 3 is applicable. Jeevan, Sumer, Seelam and Yaswant. So if we go by question number 98, the correct answer should be option number 3. Question number 99 says the following data are given according to the Economic Survey 2012-13. Some of the states are given: life expectancy at birth, infant mortality rate and death rate. Okay. Which alternative shows the state with descending order of health indicators? This one was the chapter number 1, development class 10th. From there they have taken this particular question. So if again we read the question, which alternative shows the states with descending order of health and health indicators? Descending, most developed to the least developed. Okay. Most developed, life expectancy maximum is 69.9, Maharashtra. Infant mortality rate is least in Maharashtra and death rate is also least. No, it is 6.2 in West Bengal. But if we compare the other datas, Maharashtra is the most developed one. 1 and 2 is having Maharashtra as number 1. If we go towards second one, West Bengal is 69. Infant mortality rate 32 and death rate is 6.2. So obviously second comes West Bengal. The third one is Rajasthan. If we check 66.5, 52, 6.7. Obviously it is more developed than Odisha. Rajasthan is the number 3. 1, 2, number 3 and number 4. So option number 1. Question number 99, option number 1, that is Maharashtra, West Bengal, Rajasthan and Odisha. Option number 1 should be the correct answer. So question number 100 says economic tools and their relevant objectives are as follows. In the tools they have talked about two things, one is issue price and another one is minimum support price. And objectives they have given 4 objectives. If we talk about the issue price, the objectives is to create more buffer stock. I don't think that is the aim of the issue price. Reduce malnutrition in India. That is one of the aim. So this is related with issue price. To encourage farmers to produce more food grains, that is the aim of minimum support price. To distribute food grains in deficit areas and among poor families, that is also issue price. To create more buffer stock, that is the aim of minimum support price. So if we talk about the issue price, the aim is 2 and 4, where it is given 2 and 4, A, 2 and 4 only, second option is given, and if we cross check it, minimum support price, the aim is 1 and 4. 1 and 3, not 1 and 4, 1 and 3, to create more buffer stock, minimum support price, to encourage farmers to produce more food grains, 1 and 3, and here comes 1 and 3. So the correct answer is second option. For question number 100, the correct answer is option number 2.